everyone. We are so excited for today. We have an amazing spotlight feature, and it's one definitely you want to buckle in, stay tuned because you want to hear everything that we're about to mention. So, before we dive in, my name is Taishita. I'm known as the Signature Global Experience Architect. I really help people get outside of the digital world to really connect with intentional in person experiences, build retreats so that people can connect and make long lasting intentional experiences with not just their audience, but also their clients. So, on to you, Star.
Yes, and hi, I'm Star Dixon, founder of Mitsu's, a space designed for collectors to discover original story-driven pieces by emerging artists and studios. It's really about helping people find pieces that they connect with and building collections that feel like them. So, today's going to be one of those very needed conversations. Some of the most powerful innovations aren't just built, they're born from lived experience and deep understanding of what people truly need in moments that matter most. So, today we're joined by Dr. Danitza Borges, founder and CEO of ELYS, a platform redefining how we experience safety, clarity, and emotional support in real time. With over 22 years of experience spanning law enforcement and educational leadership, her work is rooted in protecting people, but more importantly, in helping them feel seen, supported, and safe before harm ever occurs. So, Dr. Denitza, we're honored to have you. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here and being a guest. I'm extremely humbled to be part of your platform. So thank you so very, very much. And thank you for that lovely introduction. Whoa, that was impressive. So weird to be on this side of it. Well, yes, I am Danitza Borges, and I have a roller coaster ride of a life. It has been a very interesting but a very educational one and one that has molded me into the person I am today. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background of me, I came from a very low income, poverty stricken family. I was raised by my grandmother and my two older brothers who I lived with. Unfortunately for me, my parents were not very much involved in either one of our lives. And so that's a whole different story. But as growing up, I realized very early on that I had a talent for education. I immersed myself in education. I had some amazing role models and teachers and coaches that guided me through the education process. What people didn't know at the time that I was receiving this wonderful education experience, it was I was being molested by my older brother in a situation where I was very much torn in two different directions. Here was this older brother who was extremely volatile towards myself and my middle brother, but also he was the first person who bought me my bra. He was the first person who told me that I could reach the highest goals. So I was getting these constant mixed signals while growing up. Fast forward, I'm off to college, and I realized very, very quickly that I am solo. There is no one here coming to save me. And so I put myself through school and graduated with my first of two bachelors and realized that there was so much more to do. I was staying at a friend's. I was living on her couch, and her dad came to me and said, "Hey, Alicia is going to go into the Department of Corrections, and so I think she needs help. And you're a little brainiac, so why don't you help her? And you can stay here for as long as you want, and we'll get her through. And why don't you both apply?" And once you're done applying, you can venture off into a different course and she can go off to the academy. Well, life does life things and life can be messy. And I thought, well, this sounds like a new endeavor to go through. So I joined the department and I went through their academy, and Alicia ended up getting married to a correctional officer, and I ended up going through the process. I did 11 years in the Department of Corrections. The majority of my years were spent in protective custody on the yard and doing night shifts. So I was all over the place. During one of those years, we had a melee occur on the yard. And when I say a melee, that's usually anywhere between about 150 to 200 inmates who start to fight each other. And while this was occurring, I had the very good fortune of working with another officer named Officer Buchanan. And we ended up responding and kind of getting involved in this melee, not to be so graphic. And I realized at that moment, driving home that day, after having my son and being a single parent, I thought, oh my gosh, something could have went really wrong today. This was not a good experience, a learned experience, but not a good experience. And all I could think about was, oh my gosh, if my life would have been taken, my son would have known absolutely nothing about his mother, and my son would have been given to foster care and absolutely nothing. And I thought, oh, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is not how life is supposed to go. We are to exit life in a much more positive way. I always thought about baby showers and new babies and entering in celebration. And those are wonderful, beautiful memories. But I couldn't put my finger on how people leave the world. And I wanted to do it differently, especially coming from that situation. So I researched, I tried to find a place where I could leave messages for my friends and family into the future. And if something was to happen, those messages would be released. And I couldn't find it. So I built it. I thought I could do things that were different, especially coming from what I think is a different type of mentality. Although my major was not in technology. In fact, it was anthropology and world religions. I thought I was going to be the next Laura Croft and I was going to go find another Pyramid King Tut situation. That was completely not the road I was going on. Law enforcement was not the road. And so I finished out about 11 years, but when I was doing that, I got really good at reading classification files of the inmates that were in the institution. And I realized there were certain patterns, especially in sexual assaults. Who best to know somebody has MO in a sexual assault situation than somebody who had been through it for many, many years myself? So I carried that knowledge with me. And I left the department after 11 years and I opened up a learning center for children, realizing what happens if you don't get an education, how you can end up incarcerated. So I wanted to change the system in my own small way. I ended up going back to school and finishing a master's and a PhD in human sexuality. And it kept, but the thought of these memories kept resurfacing. What happens if, what happens if? Well, all of this is occurring, a couple of years go by and boom, we hit COVID. And all I could think about is people are not saying goodbye. And again, that thought resurfaced and I started to invest money. And now it became extremely real. Well, I did it all wrong. I hired all the wrong people. I didn't know the tech jargon. I didn't know the questions to ask in tech. So I wasted a lot of time and I wasted a lot of money. And I thought, okay, here we go again. Now I've got to refund the bank account, which means taking another different type of job and start again. And I did it again. And so this time I hired the right team. And this time I asked all the questions and even the ridiculous ones and even the ones that made me look and sound foolish. I kept going to the conventions. I kept asking the tech questions. I kept walking into rooms that I was one of maybe 10 females in the world of tech. So as I started to do this, as I started to build this, it's called ELYS. ELYS is my baby to the world. It is my gift to humanity because I truly believe this will change so many people's lives. ELYS is a twofold company. It is a place where you can leave messages to your loved ones, say music, documents, photos, videos, paperwork, anything to your liking, and set it to certain dates. Say it's your anniversary, it's Christmas, it's a special birthday. Maybe it's your passwords. After you pass away, my company verifies the death certificate, and that information goes out to your loved ones per your instructions. You have a designated person, so that person is always in contact with our company in case anything was missed, which we hope will not be, or just to stay in touch on when things would be released. We hold all information at least 1 to 2 years out because we understand it takes people time. It takes time to grieve. It also takes time for people to expect certain type of paperwork. We're in beta testing. We just finished beta testing, and the results we got from people who had passed away, who were in part of our program, who left messages like "Happy Birthday," "Merry Christmas," was mind-blowing to the family members. It changed the way they looked, the person who passed away and their family members. So I always tell people, imagine saving your grandmother's recipe. I know for myself, I will never be able to taste my grandmother's favorite gapito because I never took the time to write the recipe. So we lose so many things when we lose individuals. So my goal is that we stay connected and continue to leave those messages far into the future. So great-grandchildren, grandchildren can actually see the video, get the documentation, see the photos. As I was building this, I realized, like myself, things happen in the moment. There's a difference between passing away and knowing it's towards the end of your lifespan versus a car accident, an active shooter, getting into an Uber, an abduction, you name it. Things happen. Life can be very, very messy. So I decided, we all carry this handy dandy little gadget of ours that never leaves our side. What if we put an app on this technology on a phone and build an app that and called it the hot button? So, for instance, you're catching a flight. There are no guarantees in this life. You hit the hot button, you leave a 1 minute message. If nothing happens, we're happy. Swipe left, cancel, or suspend the message. You have 72 hours until it's released. But if something does happen, there's that 1 minute message sent to your loved ones. Maybe it's your child, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your sibling, maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a message that you went somewhere and no one's heard from you. I mean, we're living in that day and age. That is mind blowing to me. With all the technology that we have, people still show up missing. I'll give you a personal experience and scenario that I had. While I was building ELYS, October 28th, 2025, I had spoken to my brother about a couple of weeks earlier, my middle brother, Richard Samudio, and he had said, "Hey, let's get together for Thanksgiving. I know he's a trucker. I know we never get together. I know we always think we have time, but let's get together." I'm like, okay, perfect. My brother had dabbled, in drugs when he was growing up. I think it was his way of relieving the stress of our childhood. But he was doing great. Everything was fine. He was trekking across the United States. Life was good. When Thanksgiving came and went, my place was, well, maybe he's dabbling again. Maybe something happened. I haven't been able to reach him. We share a birthday month. We're about a day apart from our birthdays, and he never misses my birthday ever. And he missed it. And I knew at that very moment there was something very, very wrong. I reached out to his daughter. I reached out to other people that may have known. Crickets. I finally get a phone call early January, that my brother was missing. The irony of what I'm building and what is occurring with my family is mind blowing. My brother was at a truck stop. He met another trucker and they had dinner together. There's a receipt for the restaurant. My brother went back to this other trucker's vehicle. Do I think that maybe got high? Maybe something happened in that vehicle? Possibility. My brother was never seen again. It took quite a few months to even have law enforcement take it seriously. Law enforcement's busy. We understand that. Things are happening all the time. My brother wasn't famous. He was just a trucker, but he was my brother. And so to this very day, my brother is considered a missing person in North Carolina. And so I say this, what irony that here I am building this hot button that I know my brother would have used, and it wasn't completed yet. So I realize hundreds, if not thousands of people go missing every single day on this planet. I mean, we're dealing with the Nancy Guthrie situation right now. I mean, that's mind blowing. That should not exist, not in this world of technology, not in this world of advancement. People should not just not exist anymore or show up missing. That's not normality. That should never be normal. Not saying goodbye to your loved ones should never be normal. And so we are literally 24 hours away from launching the hot button. We're doing it in stages where we'll launch the hot button first, where you're able to leave a message to one person. Our first update, you'll be able to leave it up to 3 to 5 individuals. And then the final update will be a combination of the hot button and the ELYS library, where you'll be able to set messages and anything to your liking to schedule dates. And that's where we are today in our journey, in my journey.
We
uh,
definitely want to say thank you so much for even like sharing this, and especially because you can tell the passion behind the reason, like your brand, as far as like why you built it out. And also just one of the things that definitely did touch, as I'm sure it did for Ty too, is just the conversation with your brother, where it is that concept of we always think that we have enough time. And it's like No, like you never know what can happen. And just like building out like your business, like with ELYS into also adding in the hot button, beautiful. And thank you for that. So,
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
and
you.
yes,
Thank you.
definitely. And to piggyback off of what Star said is definitely thank you so much for just sharing your story. And also just also about seeing how much like something like this, if it was created and something like this could have been in the past and all the past years, when you have someone who goes missing or something that happens that it's those small moments and a lot of people just take it for granted and you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen in the future. And it's something so important that I think many people really need to, like, hear and recognize that these are the things that people really take with them, especially during the moments with uncertainty or grieving, that it really
Mhm.
makes a difference.
Yeah,
And
I would agree.
no, 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 go ahead. Sorry.
No, I would agree. I think as we see this world unfolding and the challenges that we are facing with possibility of war and my gender, I understand my gender has the biggest target on their backs. And getting into an Uber, I was raised where you didn't talk to a stranger, let alone get into a stranger's vehicle. And now that's considered very normal. But with that normalcy comes potential of major risk. And I think we have to be extremely proactive when you're getting into an Uber, when you're catching a flight, when your intuition tells you something's off, that we listen to it. And if we don't want to alarm our family members, that's okay. That's okay. Just leave a message. Tell us where you're at. Maybe you're videotaping and we know what you were wearing, where your location was. So that way we have a starting point. If you go missing, there's a I love you or a goodbye if something horrific happens. I always say, ELYS wants to leave you with a very good goodbye. How we leave each other behind matters.
And something that I really think is cool, like, because there's so many different ways that this conversation can really go. But I do love also the fact that it doesn't only have to be the things that you would initially think of. So, for example, like shootings or, yeah, like wars or potential wars and things of that nature. Also, things as simple as hikers. Like, I love to go hiking, and there are some times where you don't have any connection to wherever you are. And so it is one of those things where you can just like leave a message just in case, where you're also putting, and even down to your location, like, this is where I am. I have no, like, I'm going into this area with no signal, things like that. And also, again, like, I feel that this is a great conversation because of the fact that it touches on so many different intersectionalities of definitely being a woman, or even people like of color, for example, who are not always known to like be able to like document everything that they've ever gone through. And so just to have like a platform and a system where you can actually give like different informations, like the things that you want someone to know in the future and go from that, is amazing. So how do you get started on ELYS would be my question.
That's a good question. Thank you. Well, we are actually launching within 72. Well, we're actually launching within 24 hours. We're doing the last beta test. It's a surreal moment for myself and my team. It's been 6 years in the making. And so now, thank you. So now it's a very good weekend for me because we're definitely launching this either tonight or tomorrow morning. What do you do? We are definitely going to give your viewers and yourself our link. You go in, we try to keep it as simple as possible. You go in, it's a subscription based. So we're hoping that everybody is like, oh my gosh, we cannot believe this price point. I don't want people to think because it's not as expensive as other technology that it's not as good. It's
Mm-hmm,
better
mm-hmm,
because this
mm-hmm,
is humanitarian driven. So
mm-hmm,
humanitarian driven technology should be at a cost where everyone can afford it.
mm-hmm.
Everyone,
Yeah.
all of humanity, not specific people, but all people. So I remember walking into a store and I was thinking of the price point for the hot button. You go in, you sign up, you have a designated person. We have tutorials also that are launching with this, so it's super user friendly. We have customer service line in case you need any instructions. We have a team that will walk you through it if that's what needs to be. So we're definitely a hands-on team to make sure that you sign up correctly and it fulfills your needs. But it's $2.69 a month. per person. If you're leaving more than one message, then it's $4.99 a month. And if you want both combinations of the hot button and the ELYS library, it's $10.99 a month. We're not trying to kill people financially. On the contrary, no pun intended. But what we want is messages are so important. Like over 4 trillion messages are sent on a daily basis. The possibility of one of them being the last is so important.
Yeah.
And the person that we leave behind are going to need to hear it. Your voice, your personality, your jokes, they're going to need it. They're going to need to feel that feeling of you still being present somehow, some way in their life.
And also, I've heard of people when they go through that grieving process saying things like, for example, if they see a person or whatever the case may be that leads to the grief, being like, that's not how I remembered the person. So, yes, it is a great way to be like, this is who my person is, like they were sarcastic, they were vibrant, but like you can actually hear it. Or they were mean and they were proud to record that. So, like, it could go any single way.
Exactly, yes. And I do like the ideal, and I do like the concept behind it that, at the end of the day, this is important, and this is something that all people should be able to have the ability to do it versus only feeling like it's only for a specific type of group or only people who can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Is really meant so that something like this is for everybody. There is no right, there's no wrong. Literally, everyone can benefit from this. And this actually leads into my next question, which this isn't really just a business. It's pretty much almost like a mission. What has this journey looked like for you personally, stepping into this level of purpose that you've been working on for like 6 years, which is crazy, and being at this point where you've been through the test, you've actually seen what people's reactions to it. Has that personally made you feel through all of the roadblocks and all of the learning curves that you've done thus far?
Oh, thank you. When I first started the journey, it was extremely intimidating to walk into a room that I knew nothing about. And the more I started to speak about ELYS and my concepts, I got different feedback, especially from men in tech, because that's
Mm-hmm.
who's in technology.
Dominant, yeah.
And it's a very dominant male field. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember specifically one day, a male in tech said to me that I love your idea. It's a great idea. It should have been mine. And I
Girl,
was like,
wait, sorry.
Like, wait, break it, what?
it was interesting. And I said, but it wasn't, because
Right.
I said you have to have the right heart to build something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now,
said, and you have to
speaking
have
of confidence, that was a mix of audacity in there
Yeah,
too.
the
Like,
audacity.
what?
Like,
and it's been interesting. It's been very interesting because I think there comes a time where you have to look at what am I willing to be brave about in the face of this. I'll give you an example. So my son who heard this dream every day, like, okay, mom, I understand, so go build it. I understand, so go build it, go build it. And I said, where's my female faces in technology?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are my, you know, Zuckerbergs and Musks and
Mm-hmm.
Bezos, and where are they? Why don't I see them? And it was extremely humbling to me because my son looked at me, goes, I'm looking at her right now. Go build it. And he said, if you want to see it, you have to be it, mom. You have to go. It's no different than in law enforcement. It's a male dominant world. It's no different. It's just a different field. Just go do it. And it was interesting. It was interesting to hear that, because there comes a time in this journey, at least for me, where I have had to say, I've got to put the brave face on, because if I want this to be global, which we do, because we're launching in United States, Canada, and Mexico first. If we want to be global, then it's not just my business, it's going to be who is behind the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be a female who is courageous, foolish, crazy enough to do this. Literally crazy enough to do this. Because in a world where we see so much technology built by male infrastructures, you can literally just be a status quo and think, okay, that's the way it's always going to be.
Yeah.
And there has to be some bravery to change.
Yeah. And it actually reminds me of a conversation that we've had with another founder, Shayla Burton, where she was talking. For this one, it was more about like the structures within like her business, but like it stands true for everyone where it's not following the blueprint is sometimes and a good amount of times like the best way to go because you already had this passion and you were already working on this prior to everything that happened with your brother. So it was always like instilled in you. And yes, in a field where males are usually dominating, it is beautiful to always hear like female voices like come through and shine through that. I did want to add in before touching on also what Ty said before, where like the great thing about this is that you do make it both streamlined and accessible. So like from like the onboarding process of having someone, because as my mom, for example, likes to say, I'm not technology. Like she knows how to say it, but she just says, I'm not technology. So it's like to know that, for example, for her, it's like, girl, okay, someone will be on the side to assist you. You know what I mean? So you can not be technology all you want, but also like hitting price points that yes, like you could like and majority of people would be able to afford it in some way, shape, or form, and yeah, at different tiers too. So one of the things that you did talk about before was the initially hiring wrong, but then rectifying that. So just wanted to know like what was your journey with that and also how did you know you were finally hiring right?
That is a very good question. Excuse me. When you're excited about your baby, your product, your dream, your goal, you're just happy to align with people who can see the dream or who can be supportive of this. And sometimes we hire people that are very close to us because they can see the dream, because they reinforce that what we're the journey that we're on is doable or that is visual to them. And who doesn't want other people to see the same dream as you? I mean, that's what we want. But so many times we can hire too close or we can hire over delivery and under promise.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from a different, coming from law enforcement, I was very lenient in certain things because I didn't know the jargon. So I would give leniency to the technology world. And I realized I should have carried on a little bit more rigidness into this new field. So I also realized, and this was my mistake, that I was hiring positions in technology that I literally thought you're trying to break the glass ceiling in technology, but you're hiring majority of your team is male based. And what is this saying? What is this literally saying?
Valid.
So when I realized I'd hired the wrong team, I literally sat back with my COO and said, okay, these were all the mistakes I made. I'm going to own them. This is me. The buck stops here. What needs to be changed? And she said, you need to hire female. You need to hire female in tech. And I said, okay, let's go find them. Let's go find them. And we found an amazing, my lead in tech is female. Even though the company she works for is ran by men, but she is my lead. And she's absolutely brilliant. My lead in Canada, who is we're on the brink of bringing her on the next month, is female. And so it's it's been interesting to work with females because my previous role was law enforcement, so that was majority male. And to work with females has not only shaped me into being a better boss, but also honestly the love and support and just the everyday routines of working with other female counterparts has brought so much knowledge and emotions to what I'm building.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. It's almost as one of those things. It's always important to kind of reflect and see what's not working, what didn't work, and let me make it work for my business and let me make it work for what I need. And then in the long run, you find some brilliant people that are doing some remarkable things, and you're like, wow. You're like, this is what I needed.
Where were you?
Exactly. And that leads me to my next question, which if you had to have somebody take away something important from your story, from your past, from what you created, what is something that you really wished our audience would take away from your story and from your history and, the brand that you created that, it's really remarkable at this point?
If anything, don't give into your ego. Don't give
Yes.
into that little thing that talks into your head, that pops into your mind or talks to you out loud, or however it drives you into thinking you can and cannot do something. You cannot do it alone. You
Mm-hmm.
are not that good to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You are not that good that you feel that you don't have to ask for help or questions. You're not that good. We'd like to believe it, but we're not. We can't do it alone. We can't. We're not that good. We're not that knowledge based. You do more by getting. You get farther along by getting help, by requesting it, by humbling, by stepping back and reflecting, and to not give in to your fear. Because when you are fear based, that goes against everything that's inside of you. There's a certain entity, there's a certain light inside of you. I don't believe I ever fail. I have made mistakes, but whatever, you know, deity you believe in, whatever your religious beliefs are, I cannot fail. I wasn't put on this planet to fail. I was put on this planet to help. And so when you are so ego driven, you lose sight of what you're really here for and how you can help. So I say, put your ego aside, ask for help. Don't be afraid. You're going to fall, expect it, and get back up again and again and again and again until you just hit the right mark.
I definitely agree because it really is like the only time you fail is when you quit. Basically, other than that, it's just you're continuously like pivoting or making adjustments so that everything can be like aligned with you. And I agree with like with regards to like the ego because this is something that Ty and I have talked about also, where it's you can just as you said, you cannot do everything on your own, but you can find people who that can help you, and so that you can create systems so that you're not always bogged down. I feel that a lot of the times, initially, at least at the earliest parts of entrepreneurship, you do feel like no one's going to love my baby more than I do. And in some ways, that is true. But also, there is someone who is also going to like see that vision and like be there to help make sure that you are realistic, but also making the adjustments and making the moves towards where you want to be, you know? So, one of the questions that for my next questions that I did have is when it comes to, for example, a person passing or releasing their message off, what in what format do they receive everything? So for example, if they have like contracts and wills and things like that that they've also uploaded, is it just downloadable? Do they receive it by mail? How does that work?
No by mail, just because things happen and people open up
Okay.
other people's mail in the household, not intentionally, but things
Right, right,
happen.
right.
So what we do with the hot button, it releases within 72 hours, and then that message is sent to you via text message.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
you've given consent to receive this message, and now it's received within 72 hours. And then this does ask you if you want to download it. If you want to download it immediately, you can. We also keep a spare until it is downloaded, and we will remind you, are you sure you want to download this? So on and so forth. As soon as it's downloaded, it's in your possession, and we no longer have access to it. That's the hot button. As far as the ELYS library, it is stored up into the cloud. Both are actually stored in the cloud. It is stored up into the cloud. We have our storage with AWS and our security as well. And then on release dates, if our client says release immediately, everything is released to their people via email, and you can go ahead and download it. If it's on scheduled dates, you will receive them on those given dates via email.
I really hope some people like leave like really funny messages, like where it's like you thought you got me, I guess you did. You know, like I would be the fool. I'll just claim that right now. But on that note, what would you say is a fun fact or like fun or unsuspecting thing that people would not typically know of you?
I am a bulldog lover. I love bulldogs. I've had a bulldog. And I named my bulldogs really crazy names. Like my first bulldog was Shakespeare, but we called him Shake and Bake. We
I
have
already
gangster.
see why with his
We
little
have
tail.
right. And then I have my rescue, which is Pepper, but we call her Gangster Pepper because she came from Compton. So right.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
So I know I am a bulldog lover. I'm part of a bulldog group. I'm surrounded by fabulous women. We were on a beach one year. I think it was like 500 bulldogs. out there on the beaches, and we did a
Oh my
drone thing.
God.
Oh, it was great. We do bulldog meetups. That's one thing. I am an avid reader. I love calligraphy. I love the written note. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love beautiful stationery with a beautiful pen and put ink to paper so I can mail
Mm-hmm.
it out. There's something romantic, significant in leaving somebody a message. I guess I've always been message based, but knowing that
Mm-hmm.
I can put pen to paper, I love that.
Ooh, if I could ask just double question, what is, if you can remember, because I know that like being on the spot, that could be a whole different thing, but what is your favorite book?
Oh, that's easy. Well, that's two. There's two. There's two.
Okay.
I'm a huge
Okay.
William Shakespeare fan, so anything written by William Shakespeare. But I'm a huge fan of The Alchemist. I love The Alchemist.
Oh, I have not read that one yet,
You
but I
have
do
to.
know that it is on a lot of people's like lists, like top 10. Okay. And why? Well,
It's his journey through life,
yeah.
and I think we all have a journey, and I think we all have something significant that pops up, and I think we all get signals
Yeah.
that we need to pay attention to. You just jogged my memory. But one of my favorite books too is a children's book, and it's The Giving
Go.
Tree. It's The Giving Tree.
Okay. See, mine is The Little Prince when it comes to the
Right.
children. Yeah. Like, because those always hold a lot of like things that one, when you read it young, you're kind of like you have one vision of it, but like as you grow up, you're like, oh, this was putting a lot of like thoughts, philosophy, everything inside of this. Yeah. I love those. Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I really like, especially for me, and I love the idea when you said you love the written notes and mailing
Mhm.
things out because like
Oh, that's our
that
child.
is a very thing like cards, things that you can write down, messages, letters. That's something that has gotten far away. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people don't do, and I'll be the first one. I'll have a card, I'll write a message in it, I'll send it out like that
She
right there.
does.
Receiving those in the mail are also it's a different it's like oh, what is this? And then you see who it's
Yeah.
from because you're unexpected. It's something you don't know what it is, but when you open it, it just brings a different excitement. And I love doing that. And I was like, I don't care if people don't do it. I'm still going to do it. What? Birthdays, holidays. Oh, this is going to be a random, hi, I miss you message.
Yeah.
Things of that matter.
I think it shows so much effort.
Mhm.
Like
Hmm.
we have only few moments to tell or show someone how much we love them or care about them or think about them, and it's just one beautiful effort. It's I
Hmm.
mean, I understand text messaging, I get it, but you can misread texts, and but a letter, a
Hmm.
beautiful letter in the mail, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
Hmm.
So it's like
like
you took the time and all of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
like, could you imagine? I bet there's people who do it, but a wedding invitation to me is one of the most romantic things.
Yes.
An invite
Oh
is one,
Mm-hmm.
it's so
Oh,
romantic.
yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I can't even imagine that going digital, but I bet it is. I bet it is.
Yes.
But
With a lot of other things, yes.
Yeah.
But it's just and I know what you mean too, because especially like a lot of it, especially it's the design, it's the print. A lot of times even the seal on how they close the envelope. And there's different ways whether they do the ink or they do the melting wax, like and they have the
I
little like
love Max.
I
Yes.
love that. But
me
a lot
too.
of
Yes. Like,
exactly. It's like in some worlds it's like so foreign. People are like, what? What is that? Just like it's just
but that's also what makes it beautiful, though,
yeah.
is because it's like you really don't expect to see that, and then you're just like, oh, I'm
Oh,
trying to see, click. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
you try not to break it, the seal, but
Exactly. You're like,
there
oh,
we
I don't
go.
want to break it, but I have
Yep.
to open
Right,
it.
right.
Exactly. Well, before we wrap up, we always love to give our guests the opportunity to speak directly to our community. So, what is one way our audience can support you, connect with your brand, or be a part of what you're building?
I have a few asks, so thank you.
Yeah.
Being the new startup launch, we definitely would love to see our numbers go higher in the Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn world. They can connect with me, Danitza Borges on LinkedIn. On Instagram, we're at ELYS, ELYS underscore legacy. We would love to break that. We have about 400 people right now, but we'd love to break that plateau because as soon as we, Instagram has the rules, and as soon as we break 1,000, we can go live and talk to more people. So
Mhm.
we definitely want to do that. Same with TikTok, we're on this underscore legacy. My goal, and I don't think it's a grandiose goal, but I've heard people tell me it's a grandiose goal. My goal is 100,000 people sign up for a list within 6 months.
Okay. That just
Especially
means
the
we all
hot
have
ones.
to do our
Mhm.
work. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we all have to do our work, and so
Yeah.
it's a grass movement. for now until word gets out. But we're having some really good ads that are coming out. So my two ads are, please follow us on social media, and I'll make sure that you get all of our handles. And then the second thing is, please sign up, because we want everyone to have that handy dandy little hot button at the very bare minimum on your phone for just in case what if situations, because we live in that world. And we don't want to lose heritage and legacy. So we want to make sure people sign up also for the library. We want to connect with the Alzheimer's Foundation and Cancer Foundation, and loss of life and hospice as it gets towards the end of life as well. We want to make sure no message or word goes unsaid to help heal the people left behind.
Ooh, well, this was deep. So, as we see, Denise's work is a powerful reminder that safety isn't just about protection, it's about presence, awareness, and connection. So, through ELYS, she's creating space for people to trust their instincts, feel supported in uncertain moments, and move through the world with a greater sense of clarity and care. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to only be situations like this. As I said, just daily activities that you're doing, you could use this too. All of her links will be listed below. And as always, if this conversation resonated with you, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more founder conversations rooted in purpose and growth. As always, and until next time, keep building, keep growing, and stay inspired. So thank you. Bye.